Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here, and thank you, Minister Inada, for hosting me. I'm very pleased to be visiting Japan on my first trip overseas as Secretary of Defense. It's been many years since I first served in Japan as a young lieutenant in the Marines, but I have fond memories and good friends from that time. It's clear that much has changed since those years, but one thing is certain. The alliance between the United States and Japan is enduring and will remain as the cornerstone of peace and security in the Asia-Pacific region. Let me assure you that President Trump's administration places a high priority on this region and specifically on long-term allies like Japan. As I told Minister Inada, the United States remains committed to the defense of Japan under the Treaty of Mutual Security, and we stand ready to enhance our alliance to the benefit of regional peace, prosperity, and freedom. Today, the Minister and I discussed the security situation, and I made clear that our long-standing policy on the Senkaku Islands stands. The United States will continue to recognize Japanese administration of the islands, and as such, Article 5 of the U.S.-Japan Security Treaty applies. As the Japanese people know so well, jointly we face many security challenges in this region, from the threat of nuclear and missile provocations by North Korea to increasingly confrontational behavior by China in the East and South China Seas. We recognize the changing security situation. In our meeting together, Minister Inada and I confirmed our intention to continue close coordination on these and other security issues. I also expressed the United States' appreciation for Japan's stabilizing and strengthening efforts with Southeast Asian partners, which contribute to regional peace, prosperity, and freedom. The U.S.-Japan alliance is critical to ensuring that this region remains safe and secure, not just now, but for years to come. The 2015 defense guidelines and Japan's peace and security legislation lay the foundation for us to do much more together, to increase interoperability between our forces, and to bolster Japan's capabilities from peacetime to contingency if needed. I am certain that the coming years will see important strides on both sides to realize our mutual goal of a strong defense of Japan and a stable regional environment in which all nations play by the broadly accepted international rules and can prosper free from fear. The United States has invested in the alliance by deploying our most advanced capabilities to Japan and by maintaining a robust force structure. I also mentioned to Minister Inada that the United States remains committed to mutually agreed upon realignment plans. These include relocating Marines to Guam and reducing our footprint on Okinawa while maintaining the capabilities needed to keep Japan and the region secure. During my discussions here, we agreed that our mutual efforts to build the Fatima replacement facility will continue, as it is the only solution that will enable the United States to return the current Marine Corps Air Station at Fatima to Japan. Japan has made noteworthy contributions to regional security and to the alliance, and the United States deeply appreciates these contributions. But make no mistake, in my meeting with Japanese leaders, both our nations recognize that we must not be found complacent in the face of the emerging challenges. As our alliance grows, it will be important for both our nations to continue investing in our defense personnel and capabilities. In this manner, we will ensure that we are true partners together today and in the years to come. The United States stands with our friends and allies. Thank you again, Minister Inada, for hosting me. It is a pleasure to be back in Japan, and I look forward to hosting you in Washington. Thank you.
Mattis, please.
Stated, the alliance is unshakable, and between the two of us standing together, we're stronger together. We're stronger with South Korea, and yet there is no complacency in terms of the alliance. We know we have got to adjust to the changing security situation. We will do so in measured steps, working together, and I don't see any reason right now to think we cannot maintain stability in the Asia-Pacific region. especially with China. But at the same time, we have to recognize that the rules-based international order must be maintained. And so our focus, immediate focus, is perhaps principally on the North Korea nuclear and ballistic missile threat, but we also must stand together in support of the international order that is rules-based, and no one nation shoulders another aside or shreds the trust in terms of conviction over maintaining a rules-based approach to solving any sorts of disputes. Thank you. As far as Iran goes, this is the single biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world. And I think it is wise to make certain that Iran recognizes that what it is doing is getting the attention of a lot of people. And we have a responsibility, along with the rest of the nations that want to maintain stability, to be absolutely clear with Iran in this regard. It does no good to ignore it. It does no good to dismiss it. And at the same time, I don't see any need to increase the number of forces we have in the Middle East at this time. That's not in the cards right now. We always have the capability to do so, but right now I don't think it's necessary. But I would also just say that we do not have a situation vis-a-vis Iran that shows respect, again, for the rules-based international order. We have seen their misconduct, their misbehavior, from Lebanon and Syria to Bahrain and to Yemen, and it's got to be addressed at some point. Minister? Japan has been a model of cost sharing, of burden sharing. We have constant dialogue about this. We work through the details, but we can point to our Japanese-American cost-sharing approach as an example for other nations to follow. And we have watched as the security situation worsened and watched the budget grow under Prime Minister Abe and the Minister of Defense guidance. And I think it's prudent that we take those steps and we adapt the militaries, both our military positions, to the security situation we face today and anticipate tomorrow. And I think Japan is on the right track.
Mattis, please.
We've watched in the South China Sea as China has shredded the trust of nations in the region, apparently trying to have a veto authority over the diplomatic and security and economic conditions of the neighboring states. And the point behind a rules-based international order, what those words mean is that we all play by the rules, and if we have disputes, we take them to arbitration. We don't settle them by taking military means and occupying land that is subject to question, to say the least, about who actually owns it, or is it international waters. So what we have to do is exhaust all efforts, diplomatic efforts, to try and resolve this properly, maintaining open lines of communication. And certainly our military stance should be one that reinforces our diplomats in this regard. But there is no need right now at this time for military maneuvers or something like that that would solve something that's best solved by the diplomats. At the same time, freedom of navigation is absolute, and whether it be commercial shipping or our U.S. Navy, we will practice in international waters and transit international waters as appropriate. So at this time, we do not see any need for dramatic military moves at all.